So like in terms of going to the gym, I'd always suggest there's no need to start lifting weights until you're around.
Yes, people. The first show of What's Up for Breakfast. So today we need to start fully charged. We're gonna start off with a protein-packed power breakfast. A breakfast fit enough to provide us with the energy, the charge, the power, the fuel we need to continue with this show. Let's get it. Alright, let's start off with our mushrooms. After we've washed them, slice them up into small pieces. Mushrooms are incredibly nutrient dense and they provide many health benefits. Depending on the type of mushroom, mushrooms are professionals at supporting better health, recovery, immunity, and potentially performance. Once you've sliced up the mushrooms, place a pan over a medium heat. When I say there's so many different ways we can make an egg, but today we're going to start off with some fried egg. The process is so simple. Simply crack and pop the egg on a heated pan. If you're any kind of athlete and you don't like eggs, you may want to consider switching up your game. Eggs can be a great breakfast starter for athletes. They're a high source of quality protein, they support our muscle repair game, and they're also known for giving us a great feeling of fullness. Think about it. Yeah, I ain't one of them sunny side up people. I like my yolk cooked. When it comes to meat and when it comes to turkey sausages has long been viewed as a healthy alternative to pork for many reasons. Firstly, they contain less saturated fats. This is a big plus for footballers and athletes, as less fats mean they will sit in their stomach for less time, leaving you with less of a bloated and sluggish feeling. Another reason is turkey sausages are extremely high in protein content. Not only does high quality protein provide the amino acids muscle needs to repair and rebuild, basically allow you to get stronger over time, but it can also help you stay fuller for longer throughout the day. The body can then and therefore also use that protein as a source of energy. The biggest concern of turkey sausages is the relatively high sodium content. High sodium can lead to high blood pressure, heart failure, strokes, and other issues. However, athletes like footballers who train at a higher intensity can genuinely get away with eating more sodium intake than the average person. This is simply because they sweat a little bit more than the average person would. Make sure you cook the sausages until they're brown, so remember those mushrooms from the start? Now you want to put them on the pan. Just because mushrooms get cold quite quickly, so I always like to put my mushrooms on a little bit later just to keep them warm for when I do indulge. You don't need to leave them on the pan for too long, just let them brown slightly or leave them on until desired. Athletes need to train hard and train often. This takes a toll on your nervous system. Mushrooms are a type of adaptogen. This is a substance that supports the body during a time of stress, making them a great fit for athletes or anyone who is pushing themselves hard at work or play. Oh yeah, I nearly forgot. Wash your tomatoes and add them to the pan as well. Tomatoes are full of vitamins, minerals, and loads of positive nutrients. Studies have shown that tomatoes have an association with better athletic performance. This was particularly for endurance athletes. So for those of you who want to increase your match fitness, try adding tomatoes to your breakfast. Alright, time for the baked beans. And we're not going to add it to any Weetabix, but we are going to add it to our delicious meal. So all you need to do, the process for the beans is simple. Now I know you can jazz up your beans as much as you want. You can add onions, you can add seasoning and all the rest. But we're going to keep ours ever so simple today. You can either heat the beans up on the stove in a small pot, or if you're lazy like me, you can simply put it in the microwave. Make sure you cover the microwave with a lid. I'm telling you. I know what you guys are thinking, baked beans aren't even healthy. But when you strip away the sauce that baked beans come in, you're left with a creamy white bean full of nutrients. Therefore, if we allow the pros to outweigh the cons, maybe I may have to start adding more baked beans to my diet after all. Put some bread in the toaster, plate up, and there we have it. Our protein-packed power breakfast. Yes, people. Coach Nathaniel here, aka Mr. Escalate, and today I'm here with the one and only, the boss man, Mr. Muscle himself, the sergeant, which is Coach Chris.
How we doing, guys?
It's Coach Chris. So obviously it's our first episode of Boss Up for Breakfast, and obviously I thought who better to bring on than someone obviously I know very well, but I feel like you're a perfect candidate of the type of inspirational character that we want on this show. I feel like you've got lots of knowledge to share. And yeah, so I just thought, what better way to let's just smash it up over some breakfast before we start our day. And obviously, as you know, we're eating our power protein meal today. What do you think of the meal?
Yeah, it's nice.
Chris don't eat mushrooms, innit? So that's why I asked him, what do you think? Because he don't really like mushrooms, but you obviously, I know as a sports scientist, I know you know the benefits of mushrooms.
I'll give it a try once, but that's about it.
But yeah. So,
Excuse me.
I think, obviously I know you quite well, but I just for the audience, just basically tell us a bit about yourself. Obviously, just as a run through, obviously I know you're head coach of the best club in the world, Escalate Elite, of course. Strength and conditioning specialist, PT, sports scientist, the list goes on. But yeah, just tell us a bit about yourself, what got you into coaching, and yeah, that's my first question to you.
So Nathaniel's giving me hella accolades, but yeah, all he said is correct. I am, I have a sports science degree, qualified PT, football coach, and everything else. So yeah, what got me into coaching? For me, to be honest, it's just like, I've always loved football. So getting into coach was pretty simple. If I'm not playing, why not teach it? So that was the natural progression for me. So I don't know, from, I think it was like year 10, year 11 of secondary school, I started coaching. So like doing like multi-sports camps, Arsenal Double Club, helping here and there.
Yeah, I remember Arsenal Double
Club. So yeah, from there, literally just took it on from there, went to uni, did my degree, played a bit of football for 2 years. After those 2 years of playing football, I coached for another 2. So yeah, just naturally just did from one to the other. So going from playing to coaching, and then left uni, and I've been with Escalate ever since. So that is what, I don't know, like 6 years now. Yeah, so out of uni, 6 years with Escalate. So literally just watching some of the boys that we do coach as well.
You're cracking on with your age, mate.
I'm an old man. Watching some of the boys we do coach, it's just like, I remember you when you were in year 3, year 2, and now you're what, year 10, year 11. It's like, it's just mad. It's crazy.
Yeah, man. So obviously you touched a bit upon Escalate, of course. You just go into a little bit, because I know you're the head coach of the club, and you also do a lot of work, strength and conditioning wise with them. Can you just touch a bit more on what's your day-to-day like in terms of with Escalate, in terms of with Escalate Elite as a football club?
So a day-to-day in the life of me is, I don't know, it depends on the time I wake up. So I could wake up anywhere between 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock. And once I am up, I tend to go do my morning, like, say a prayer as always, get myself ready for the day. And then I'd head to the gym. I get to the gym, and depending on what I'm doing for that day, I'll do what I need to do. Go home, have some food, usually close to this. So I love to get loads of eggs in, loads of beans in, oats here and there, smash a protein shake as well, maybe maybe a smoothie. Getting a big, nice and nutritious breakfast is
That's why you're so
very.
hinch.
I'm not hinch. I'm just a small guy trying. But yeah, try and get in as much food in my first meal of the day, so I know that I'm very, not, I wouldn't say full, but I'm loaded for the day ahead. So yeah, I get my food in, and then I'll get ready for my coaching day now. So then I'd head over to South London, over in Streatham. I'd have my first session of the day, which is after school club. Yeah, that's the under 16s. When it comes to the 15s, which is the team I coach personally, we do the strength and conditioning stuff, which I covered already, as well as technical stuff in terms of like their ball mastery, their ball retention, control of the ball, and everything else that falls underneath the technical bracket of playing football, as well as their day-to-day game management stuff. And we look at match preparations on our third day of training. In terms of the 14s and 13s, they do their strength and conditioning sessions together, and I also cover that. And I'm also available, being the head coach, to cover any other sessions if a coach falls ill or is unavailable for their session on that day. So yeah, I do. Sometimes I feel like I don't do a lot, but then if I look in the grand scheme of things, I do quite a bit. I'm also the club's welfare officer, so I'm having to, as well as I love a joke and a laugh, I also have to be serious as well, which the kids will tell you I'm quite serious and quite strict. But also have to be serious in order to ensure everyone's safety. So yeah, I try to do my best.
Easy, man. Easy, you do that. Even when I'm hearing it, I'm like, this guy does so much. It's brilliant stuff. Obviously, you spoke a bit about like grassroots football, and obviously just you as a day-to-day coach, how much you have to go through. You said about welfare. You said about obviously actually planning the sessions and all of those things. What's some of the like difficulties that you come across in grassroots football in general? Like, what are some of the challenges you've had to face, and what do you feel like needs to be done to improve grassroots football?
In terms of grassroots, is grassroots. Like, it's not the professional side of the game, but like everyone wants to get to that side of the game. But then at the same time, grassroots in itself is a good stepping stone for a lot of players to get there. I'd say one of the challenges is, like, say on a match day now, the grounds aren't perfect that we play on, and they're not maintained by, like, say, Premier League or a Football League groundsman or something like that. It's just maintained by the council. So it's every now and then, which is, it's not a dig at them, but then you got to think the FA as a whole, they should take some priority in terms of grassroots as well. They should be in they have. It's very clear that they have enough money.
They put in some.
It's very clear that they have enough money to filter down to grassroots, because you take something like the whole game system that they use for teams to sign on and keep track of everything. Apparently pumped in, I don't know, something like 60 million into an online system. But then you have, especially the area that we're based in, so like South West London, you have places like Wandsworth Common, Clapham Common, Streatham Common, Norbury Common, barely any pitches, and the pitches that you do have, half of them or even 3/4 of them are unplayable, so you can't even play on them, so it makes no sense. You can't say you're here to support grassroots, but then grassroots get no actual support. So yeah, a lot could be done in terms of the big boys and say the FA, London FA, all county FAs doing a bit more to support the actual grassroots level of football. Because like you do have, when you start getting to that, I don't know, that semi-pro bracket, a lot of them have their own stadiums, maintaining their own grounds and all this stuff. But then why is it that the lower tiers, so say the actual grassroots level of football, where you actually, where majority of their best players do get poached at the end of the day, why is it that they can't play on a good standard of a pitch? There's money there, clearly. So do it.
No, I hear it, man. I agree, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. Like, obviously we complain about it all the time, and
Yeah.
I feel like you hit the nail on the head, if I'm being honest. Just obviously just listening to you speak about sort of the tiers and like the better players sort of getting poached and all of that. And as you know, even in football, a lot of our youth they play for leisure, of course, but then a lot of their aspirations are also to. So whose phone is that? Like your phone, my phone. Turn off your phone, mate.
Yeah.
I think it's actually mine. I think it's mine. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, you hear there's a lot of them have aspirations to sort of go further in football. And as you know, like the game sort of changed in terms of sports science have come into things, sports psychology, nutrition, all these things have become so much more important than they were maybe even when we was, definitely even when we was younger. How important do you, just as a strength and conditioning specialist, like how important do you feel that side of thing is for a young player now? And yeah, how important do you feel like it is, and why is it so important if you do feel like it is?
It is important just because like it gives individuals the advantage and that edge against others that are not utilising it, to be fair. Because like if I take for example, our under 16s played a London Cup game, what was it, last week Saturday, and you could just tell the boys that we were playing against, they just had that slight advantage in terms of how they were built. Like I'm not saying our boys are small, but like we're still only in the starting process because we only introduced strength and conditioning last season. So like we're still in that learning phase of developing them into that athlete to be ready for the next stage. So like I'd say like if you've been doing that from I don't know, probably say like 12, 13 when we do start with our boys. If you did start from that 12, 13, once you do get to your 15, 16, you see that advantage. And I think that's what we saw last week Saturday when we did have our London Cup game. The team that we played against, they were all just physically stronger. Well, majority of them were physically stronger. They were physically built, so like they look like athletes. They look like grown men with a child's face, if that makes sense. So like they were physically built, which you wouldn't have seen so many years ago. Especially coming from the league that we come from, we don't see that often as well. Not well for me, especially in my league. We don't see that too often. Like you do have your anomalies where you have, I don't know, 3 or 4 across the league that you can just see. Oh, he's just physically, he's just there. So you know, like with his technical ability, he's not going to be around for long. And we've seen that already this season, in our league especially. Speaking to managers on a week-to-week basis, we've seen players that have that technical ability, have that physical appearance. They're leaving within the league's only been running since end of, but it start of October, and we're in December now. So it's like within 2 months the player's already gone.
And just to clarify, because I'm not sure if they know what you mean by gone. Like,
oh, I mean like gone to like a professional team. So that's from grassroots making that step up. So it's like going back to my point at the start, having that sports science, strength and conditioning advantage to your training is always going to be beneficial because it sets you apart from others who are not taking advantage of it. So yeah.
I feel like even just speaking on that game, I know after the game, a lot of our under 16s realised that, and I heard them. They start asking, "Oh, Chris, what do you think we could do to improve the strength, and what do you think we could do to obviously nutrition? Hopefully, this show is one of the things that can help as well." But a lot of them started asking me about going to the gym and that. What I wanted to ask you is, what do you, as a PT, obviously as a sports scientist as well, strength and conditioning specialist, when do you feel the best time for a young player to start gym is, in terms of gymming, doing weights and things like that? And in fact, could you give us a sort of timeline? Because you spoke about like you feel that we should, obviously we started late in terms of when we started doing strength and conditioning, but of course that's because we've been building the club and things like that. But and hopefully now it's going to be more advantageous for our young players because they're starting earlier. But could you kind of give us a timeline of the types of things players should be doing at what age group, and sort of when they should go into that gym starting the weights and the squatting weights and things like
For
that?
me, like, everyone's gonna be different, personally. I just get that out from the outset. Like, everyone's gonna be different in terms of what your body can handle, in terms of what your body is willing to take, in terms of what you're willing to give as well. In terms of going to the gym and everything, I use myself as an example. I started going to the gym at 16. I loved it for like 2 years. Got to uni, and then it was like a bit part here and there, and then came back from uni. And then I was really on it for a second, and I was off it for like 2-3 years, then back on it, and off it, then back. So like, my training journey has always been inconsistent, but that's just down to me as a person. Sometimes my behaviours are inconsistent. So like, in terms of going to the gym, I'd always suggest there's no need to start lifting weights until you're around 15, 16, where you're actually, your body's near its full maturation, or is that the right word? I don't know if that's the right word.
I don't want to say it just in case I'm incorrect.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the right word, but your body's nearing. Your body's more mature, so like you're able to. So your body's able to understand what you need in terms of like things outside of your body. So yeah, I'd say around 15, 16, where you're able to realise now, oh, I can lift that weight, or I can pick that up, I can do this, I can do that. But I say before that, so say from like, I don't know, like once you hit like secondary school, so say you're 11, 12-year-olds, I'd say just start doing push-ups for fun. Like that's something for me, like I can do push-ups now for fun and not even have to think about it. Like at the age I'm at now, I can do push-ups and it doesn't, in my head it's not like, oh, this is hurting. But like when we're doing push-ups, say with our teams now, you have some who can do it, some who are trying, and then some who can't even just lift their body off the floor. So it's like you're at 3 different stages now, but it's like if you were doing push-ups for fun or just learning the process of push-ups for fun from like the age of, I don't know, like 11, 12, we'd all be at that stage here where we're all able to do it, maybe not for fun like me, but like you're able to do it with good form. Instead of having to spend numerous weeks learning the process again. Because for me, a push-up is just a basic movement, but like it takes so many things into consideration. Because like you got to think about the joints that are being used, your elbow, your wrist, the shoulders are getting involved, and then at the same time you've also got to think, I got to keep my lower extremity off the floor. So a lot of people tend to do push-ups and their hips are banging against the floor, their shoulder blades are pinched against each other, and it's like, so yeah, just going back to the point you just pulled up about lockdown, the first lockdown, and us utilising Zooms. So like we were doing strength and conditioning sessions for the whole club on a Wednesday, and I say just doing that, if I go from then till now, I could just highlight around, I don't know, like 3, maybe more, like 5, like 3, maybe 5 of our boys, even just in our oldest age group, in our under 16s, who are looking bigger in terms of just how they look. Their posture has improved a lot, so they're standing taller. Just looking at their leg definition, so like you can tell they've been putting the work in. And a few have even hit me up saying, "Oh, Chris, I can do this, I can do that." Like one of our boys was hitting me up the other week, telling me how he's now deadlifting 100 kg. But I'm thinking, you're deadlifting 100 kg at 16, and I probably wasn't even deadlifting 60 kg at 16. So it's like the work they're putting in, whether that is with me on their session, or that's whether at school or in their own time, it's paying off. And I think over the next, we're still playing till like May. So over the next few months, that's only going to improve, and hopefully they do keep at it, and hopefully it benefits them, as I know it will.
And just to say, if you are confused about some of the workouts that Chris has put out, he's going to be putting out a video real soon. You'll catch that on our YouTube channel. So yeah, if he says so. Just wanted to point that one out. But, so just going back to some of the things you were talking about a bit earlier, you said sort of you feel like sometimes you're a bit inconsistent in terms of your training and things like that. Just knowing you, obviously, you might think that, but from visually, from on looking perspective, it's kind of like we see you always doing your work and you're putting in your training in the gym, whether it's in the gym, whether it's just doing calisthenics and things like that. But I also see you doing that in terms of your coaching development, in terms of constantly trying to do CBT courses, continuing professional development courses, constantly looking to improve in terms of, obviously you've got your level 2 PT, going for your level 3 and things like that. So you're always consistently trying to improve. I just want to ask, why is that, and what advice would you give to future coaches who maybe might be wanting to get into coaching, but they feel like they've got an inconsistent mentality where they want to do this but they can't just quite jump over that hurdle because they go to search up the course or they just can't get that consistency? What advice would you give to coaches?
My advice, my key point would just be don't give up. Just because, like I said, I have a very inconsistent type of behaviour sometimes, where it's even in terms of work, in terms of coaching, in terms of everything. To be fair, my mind frame is just sometimes inconsistent, and I'd say the main reason, the only way of combating that is just not giving up. Because like you mentioned my PT course, so I'm level 3 qualified PT.
So level 2. So you had to throw that one in. You like level 2? What?
So yeah, I'm a level 3 qualified PT, but like that was something that I wanted to do from leaving uni, but then I've only got it, 6 years later. So like that in itself is just an example of how inconsistent it is. So, well, for me, that I am, should I say? So like I always wanted to do it leaving uni, but it's like this came up, that came up, I couldn't be bothered, and I looked into it. I looked into it probably like 3 times. And then I think what happened was I signed up for a strength conditioning course, which is the step up, which is a level 4. So I signed up for a strength and conditioning course, and then like I started it. It was going alright. Lockdown happened, and I was like, can I actually do this without having the prior knowledge of the actual PT? In a way I could have done it, but it's like there's an order, there's a step to doing things in it. So it's like if I don't have one, getting the other is going to be slightly difficult. So I had to take the step back and then get my PT course. And now in this new year, I'm going to go back and do my strength and conditioning level 4. But yeah, I'd literally just say don't give up. Like, especially this coaching journey that I'm on, it's been an up and down one, because like I know my final target, and my final target is to be in the professional game, and for me to get there, it's going to take however long it's going to take, and I'm happy to go on that journey, but it's like I've got to put things into place now in order for that to be the case in the future. So it's like getting my PT was always something I wanted to do, which I've got it now. So now it's about using that to build a clientele, to build a nice basis that when I do get to professional game, I'm able to transfer that over, if that makes sense. In terms of coaching, in terms of PTing, it's very much the same thing for me. It's all about just being dedicated to what I know. So being dedicated to what I know is in terms of when I was doing my PT course, it was like everything they were saying, it was more the science side is like, because I haven't looked at like a sports science textbook in however long. That was part that was a bit difficult, but in terms of like the actual practical physical stuff, it was all simple to me because it's what I already do in the gym. And because it's already what I do in the gym, it's just like it was so much easier to coach it. So like I'm a very practical learner, so like if I see something, I'm able to pick it up like that and just do it. In terms of like sitting down having to read, that's not me. But yeah, don't give up is my key point, because if you're not giving up, in the end, if it's actually something you want to do, you'll get there. And just look at me with my PT course. Yeah, 6 years down the line, but it was something I actually wanted to do. And yeah, I kept putting it off on the back burner, kept putting it off. and then lockdown happened, which was kind of perfect because I stopped focusing on one, and I was able to give all my focus to the one that I actually needed, and which I did, and I was able to get my qualification, which I'm very pleased with. And it's all about actually getting out there and using it. So yeah, it's all about finding the time now with my coaching schedule, and then just doing what needs to be done.
That's good, man. Like, obviously you kind of, I was gonna ask you what's next, but you kind of brushed upon that. So yeah, that's really positive to hear. And I just wanted to say I love the mentality, and that's kind of what, like, obviously our slogan, to believe is to know, is all about. And it's like, yes, you might not be there right now, but you know where you're trying to get to, and you know what you have to do to put in that work. So it's a mindset situation. So yeah, man, to believe is to know. Literally, those were I said to him 10 questions. He's like, how many questions? But I said 10 questions, because I know he's a busy man and he's got a lot to do. But yeah, hopefully these, like, just from speaking to you and just from people hearing the kind of things you got to say, hopefully that it can inspire some future coaches, inspire some players. Hopefully some of the knowledge that you're sharing, players will be able to use that to help their game and raise their game. Even just athletes in general who are just trying to improve on just a normal athletic level. Hopefully that this kind of conversation can help them. If you've got any more questions, of course, hit Chris up. Where can we find you? I mean, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram. So my coaching profile is Coach Chris ____. So that's @Coach Chris with 3 underscores.
Yeah, hopefully you learn how to put that up and it goes up. But yeah, but no, that's good, man. Yeah, no, obviously thank you for coming. Thank you for having breakfast with me. Of course, we've got a busy day ahead, so we're gonna get cracking. I got a quick fire question for you. Obviously this is boss up for breakfast, but what's your preference, breakfast, lunch or dinner?
Ooh, tricky one. It all depends on how I'm feeling that day, but more time, it all depends on the meal, man. It all depends on the meal. It depends on the meal, but like breakfast, innit, because it's the first meal of the day, innit, so like I've got to like what I'm having. So like, I don't know, yeah, but it has to be breakfast, because like lunch, dinner is perfectly what I like, but it's later in the day, because I'm not going to have what I'd usually have for dinner and for breakfast, if that makes sense.
But
so
you
like,
could have what you want for breakfast for dinner.
There we go. I've contemplated it a few times of having like oats before I go to bed, or having a full English before I go to bed. But like, yeah, it's breakfast. We'll go breakfast.
Yeah. Breakfast one. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think that's it. I just checking my notes if I did have anything, because I know we went a bit off topic. But yeah, no, that's literally it. Obviously, guys, thank you for watching. This has been me, Coach Nathaniel, aka Mr. Escalate, and obviously you've been having breakfast with
Coach Chris.
And that's it, guys. Remember, Escalate, it's all about the mindset. To believe is to know. And remember this also, a good start to the day might not always mean a good finish, but it certainly does help. See you later.
Jeez, them man there.